We all know Fortnite sometimes has to ban cheaters, but what if I told you that some of Fortnite's biggest YouTubers, streamers, and even pro players have been banned in Fortnite? Starting with Clix, one of the best pro players on the planet. Being one of Fortnite's most famous pros and even having an icon skin in game, you wouldn't think he's been a player who's been banned. But back in Chapter 4, the #1 Clix hater decided to stream snipe him, and throughout the match, he did 350 damage to Clix and made him waste over 500 mats. Clix eventually realized he was being trolled by a stream sniper, but that's when he made a huge mistake. Because of all the damage the stream sniper had done, Clix asked for a chug splash and mats, and the stream sniper actually did it, and then let Clix eliminate him. Clix went on to win the match and tournament, and although you could argue it was justified, Fortnite technically considers this teaming, and that's why Clix was banned from competitive for 2 weeks. But the next ban was way more justified, because when Fortnite announced the World Cup back in 2019, the entire community was grinding for it. Pros, streamers, and even casuals. Everyone wanted a chance at the $3 million prize, and with such high stakes, players would do anything to qualify. During Solo's Week 3 when Ziff qualified, a clip went viral of him allegedly being fed eliminations, which led to uproar in the community. This was a spot in the biggest Fortnite tournament ever, and one spot for you is one less for somebody else, and in this case, it stopped Clix from qualifying that week. But Fortnite was paying attention, and after this went viral, they issued a 14-day competitive ban against Ziff, allowing Clix to qualify. So problem solved, right? Well, not exactly, because he wasn't the only player being accused of this. Turns out Ziff's duo partner, Ronaldo, was accused of the same thing, so Epic hit him with the same 2-week ban, but a lot of players felt it wasn't enough. Because after the ban, Ziff and Ronaldo came back and placed third in Duos Week 8, securing their spot in the Fortnite World Cup. This led to fans trolling them at the event.
Oh, and Ziff is out of here.
Even Dr. Lupo took a shot at them.
Very quickly, gonna find another. Looks for the 4th shot, 4 shots, kills a bot on the outside, rotating through.
To this day, it's one of the most controversial bans Fortnite has ever handed out. But what if I told you one of Fortnite's most popular YouTubers was banned from the game? Well, that's exactly what happened to Lazarbeam. Back in Chapter 1 Season 5, Laser was playing squads with Alex Ace and Vicstar, and all was going well, until they looked at the elimination feed and saw that Lazarbeam was struck with the ban hammer. I guess this was because Fortnite thought he was using a VPN, but thankfully he wasn't banned for long. But it's not the only time Fortnite banned Lazarbeam, because one day he wanted to prank his friend Fresh, and that's when he came up with an idea, to stream snipe him for a video. First, he tried to trap him by filling his helicopter with C4s, but that didn't go to plan, and eventually, Fresh got the best of him. So he went back to the drawing board, and that's when he thought of the best way to get Fresh. He got a huge group of his fans to wear the Peely skin and push him in game. Fresh caught them as they were gliding in and was in complete shock, but despite being outnumbered, he managed to eliminate them all. But Laser was not going to give up there. He got his fans together and they made it to the late game, and just as he was about to eliminate Fresh, yup, he was hit with the ban hammer for teaming. But Laser isn't the only player who's faced a ban for teaming, because next up we've got Bucky. Bucky is considered one of the top Fortnite players, and during Chapter 2's FNCS, he and his duo Creo finished an impressive 2nd place in Week 1. But shortly after, a clip began circulating online that had the community talking. Some players in the community alleged that Bucky and Creo were storm tagging, basically trading shots with another duo, Slacks and Keys, as a way to avoid taking damage from Storm Surge. This caused a lot of outrage and speculation that the teams may have been colluding. Epic reviewed the situation and issued a 60-day competitive ban to all 4 players involved, one of the longest competitive bans in Fortnite history. But the next player was banned from competitive for life, Repulse God. Repulse was a well-known pro player in the Oceania Fortnite scene, but during the 2023 FNCS qualifiers, he made a huge mistake. He broke the rules by sharing his account with another player, and when Epic found out, they did not hold back. After reviewing the situation, they issued one of the toughest punishments in Fortnite history. Not only was he banned from competing and forced to give his earnings to charity, but he even had to post a public apology, admitting to breaking the rules and promising not to cheat again. Moral of the story, don't cheat in Fortnite, it's definitely not worth it. If only Jarvis would have gotten that message sooner, because back in Chapter 1, FaZe Jarvis was one of the best controller players in the world, and fans quickly started to notice, leading to millions of views and subscribers. But one day, he had a bad idea: to download cheats for a YouTube video. Yeah, he basically cheated then posted the evidence. Fortnite was not gonna let this fly, and ended up banning him from the game forever, or so we thought. Because earlier this year, Epic decided to offer a second chance to players who had lifetime bans for over a year. So finally, after 6 years, Jarvis made his return to Fortnite. He's not the only YouTuber to be banned, because I bet you didn't know that Typical Gamer was struck with the ban hammer, but it wasn't really his fault. TG was getting trolled by stream snipers, and instead of fighting him, they kept following him around the map. He tried to ignore them, but they were so close, Fortnite automatically flagged it as teaming, and he was struck by the ban hammer. Thankfully though, it wasn't a permanent ban. But one of the most famous Fortnite bans ever has to be Tfue. You probably knew that Tfue would always wear the default skin back in the day, but you may not have known why. There's this misconception that the reason why Tfue would always wear the default is because he looks like Jonesy, but it's actually a lot more complicated. You see, back in the day, Tfue had some of the rarest skins in Fortnite, like Skull Trooper and Renegade Raider, but this was because Tfue actually bought an account with the skins. Turns out, this is actually against Fortnite's rules, and because of this, his account was permanently banned. So Tfue made a fresh account called Not Tfue, and he refused to buy skins ever again. That is until Fortnite gifted him the NFL skins, and he started using new skins. But no matter what, he'll always be remembered for the iconic default look. But he's not the only YouTuber to get banned for account trading, because a similar situation happened with iTalk. Known for covering the daily item shop, iTalk had one of the most stacked Fortnite accounts in the world, only missing 3 skins. But Fortnite found out he had merged his account with his friend's account to get the Season 2 Battle Pass items, which is technically against the rules. As a result, his account was permanently disabled. Since then though, he's built a pretty impressive collection on his new account, and he still covers the item shop every day. But forget buying accounts, the next player got banned for getting way too creative with his, and it cost him big time. I'm talking about Landon. Like a lot of streamers back in Chapter 1, Landon was blowing up, but the reason why? He was racing to become the first player in the world with 1 million V-Bucks. After finally hitting that milestone, things took a turn, because Landon was banned. See, back then, modded skin videos were exploding in popularity, and Landon was one of the biggest streamers making that kind of content, showing off skins like Galaxy Skull Trooper and Galaxy Omega. But Fortnite's rules are clear: changing the game files, even for content, isn't allowed, so Epic ended up banning his account. And with 1 million V-Bucks sitting on that account, yeah, this one definitely stung a little extra. Another OG ban you might have forgotten about happened to Nate Hill and Funkbomb. Back in the early days of Fortnite, Nate Hill and Funkbomb were one of the top duos in the world, but during the fall skirmish in 2018, they messed up. After Funkbomb was eliminated from the tournament, he started watching the official Fortnite Fall Skirmish stream and relayed information to Nate Hill that he otherwise may not have known. Tournaments were still relatively new at the time, and it wasn't as clear what was and wasn't allowed, but it didn't take long for people to realize what was happening. And even Funkbomb admitted it didn't feel right, saying,
I feel like this is cheating, but...
Fortnite responded by issuing both players a short competitive ban for breaking the rules, with Nate's ban being a little lighter. But the next ban happened to one of Fortnite's most OG creators, Alex Rami Gaming. Alex was one of the very first Fortnite streamers back in 2017, and he wasn't just popular, he was actually pretty good, holding some of the most wins in the game at the time. But he may not have been the best teammate to squad up with. See, back then team killing was still possible in Fortnite, and Alex would sometimes use it to his advantage, eliminating teammates to take their weapons. It didn't take long for Fortnite to catch on, and eventually his account got hit with a temporary ban. But you probably never knew IShowSpeed got banned, but not in the way you would think. He didn't get banned from regular Fortnite, but instead from Nick A30's custom matches. Speed wanted to play in Nick A30's Simon Says, and things started out good, but after being eliminated, Speed wanted revenge. And that's when this happened.
Simon Says you're not allowed to shoot back. Oh! Yo! Speed! Monts! Ban him! Make sure he never joins my customs ever again!
But next, we've got probably the toughest ban Fortnite has ever handed out, because this one didn't just end with a ban, it ended with an $175,000 lawsuit. In late 2024, Epic Games announced they had taken legal action against the player who allegedly used cheating software and multiple accounts to gain an unfair advantage in Fortnite tournaments. After the player failed to respond to the lawsuit, a judge ruled in Epic's favor. The result? The player was permanently banned from Fortnite and ordered to pay $175,000, which Epic pledged to donate to charity. Safe to say, cheating in Fortnite can cost you way more than just your account. But hey, if you enjoyed this video, you'll probably like the one on screen now, and I'll see you there.